Are you tired of transposing your inner cut line to the outside of the van, only to find out you can't see where you punched? Is your jigsaw too large to fit within the confines of the cut line? Then we've got a solution for you.
Todd Farr here with the AirSaw. This revolutionary saw is going to change the way that you cut holes in your van. No more center punching, no more connecting those little dots, no more transposing that beautiful cut line from the inside of the van to the outside. This will literally cut through anything, like this rubber pencil, like this hotel slipper. Of course it'll cut through metal. And after all of that, it stays sharp enough to cut through your favorite fruit. So how much you think an amazing saw like this would cost? $500? Nope. $250? Think again. You can call 1-800, check the link in the description below, slap that subscribe button on your way down, and follow along as we install our CR Laurence Windows in the side of our new van. Alright, pitchman jokes aside, my name is Todd, behind the camera is Colleen. We are going to be tackling this project of installing this CR Laurence window in the side of our brand new van here. Now I know this has been done a lot, but one thing that I didn't like personally about the other videos that I saw is they're always transposing a perfectly good cut line from the inside of the van to the outside and then cutting out here. So we've decided we're going to put the AirSaw to the test and see if we can just use that cut line on the inside to just do it once and be done with it. So let's get into it. So a lot of other videos that do this operation actually use this tool. This is a JigSaw. It's a great tool, it works. The only problem is it's so wide that you have to transpose the inner cut line to the outer surface. That's why you see a lot of people do that, and then they'll come from the outside of the van with this tool. The other thing that I don't like about this is you can see in the far reverse stroke, there's only about an inch of blade sticking out here, and that's about the same distance between the inner body panel and the outer body panel. So if you hit that with the end of the blade, you get a lot of kickback. You'll probably see that in other videos as well. So our tool of choice is the AirSaw. This is super popular with fabricators that do body work and things like that because it's so narrow. If you compare the two side by side, you can see how much skinnier this is. It does require compressed air. I already had that, so it wasn't a super large barrier for me. But we're going to give this a shot, and hopefully we can cut from the inside, one and done. Alright, so before we get slicing, we're going to do a little bit of prep work. When you cut metal like this, especially with a small tooth blade, it tends to throw little bits everywhere. So I'm actually just going to run some plastic down here, hopefully catch some of the, the bulk of the mess we make. So I just got this painter's tape and this plastic, and I'm going to lay this out. So we got that plastic all laid out. Hopefully this acts as a good catch. This is probably a little unnecessary. You can probably vacuum it up, to be honest, but it's a brand new van. I'm trying to keep those little spots, those little bits of metal out of the cracks and crevices. Alright, next thing we're going to do is I actually have to cut across these support members here. So I'm actually going to just take this straight edge and draw Sharpie lines across here so that I have a nice good cut line to follow. Alright, ultimately for the pilot hole, I need to be able to drill with this 3/8 inch bit, but I'm going to start with this smaller bit. It's just easier with a smaller point to get it started. So drill this hole first and then open it up with the 3/8 for the saw blade. I've never drilled a hole in a van before, so here goes nothing. Should I do it?
Do it.
Alright, we got our pilot hole, and we're gonna go ahead and start cutting and see how we do. I'm pretty nervous right now. Pulse is probably 120 at least. Colleen says it looks like I'm ready to snorkel, but I'm actually just being safe. Let's cut some metal. Now, I would recommend all around safety glasses. This thing throws a lot of little flecks of metal. You don't want to get one of those in your eye. So it may look nerdy, but just go for it. All right, here goes nothing. All right, I'm about 12 inches in. I had to get some air protection, but this is the move. This thing cuts so easily. There's zero resistance at all, and it is so easy to follow this bottom line. This is awesome. All right, we got a hole in the van. I got a new riot shield. That went so well. You know, cutting from the inside is definitely the move. I cut along the sides and the bottom edge, and then Colleen jumped out and pulled the bottom out away from the van to prevent the vibrations, then just sliced off the top and just basically handed it out the window to her. All right, now that we got that cut out, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up. I just got an angle grinder here with a 120 grit flat wheel. You want to be pretty careful. This can remove a lot of material really quickly, so just light touches and just kind of getting the burrs off here. See if it fits.
Oh, it is in.
So Colleen's got a lint-free rag. She's just going around with isopropyl alcohol, cleaning the surface. And then I just have this little guy here. See if the camera will focus. It's just a little diamond file, and I'm just going around and cleaning up the little last burrs. Making sure there's no sharp edges and no more of the metal chips. So there is a little bit of metal shavings down in this crack here in between the inner and outer wall, and I just have an air nozzle blowing it out, and then in the other hand, when I'm not holding the camera, I have this Dyson here, and I'm just sucking up those chips as they get blown out of that crevice. That worked really well, actually. So we nailed the test fit. Now it's time to prime. I've got some Rust-Oleum auto primer here. I'm gonna spray into this cup until it forms a nice little pool, and then use these cheap foam brushes, and we're just gonna go along the edge, basically covering any of the bare metal so it doesn't rust. Those are some nice gloves, Colleen.
Thank you.
Colleen used those when she was outside the van pulling off this frame, and now I think she really likes them.
I do.
Alright, we're on the last step. Got the trim ring here. Colleen is on the outside applying pressure. It's getting a little dark. I'm trying to finish before the night comes. Okay, so it's clearly the next day here. We had some technical issues. The camera batteries died. We ran out of daylight. We're YouTube noobs, doing the best we can. But I did want to come back and talk about how I put the trim ring on. I started up here in the top in the middle. Then I moved to the corners. And then I added screws and just sort of worked my way around the outside, kind of tightening as I went and kind of trying to make this as uniform as possible. It does say to use a manual screwdriver, but I found an impact driver works really well in the beginning. And then as you get close to the end, use the manual screwdriver to put the final kind of tightness on them. Just that dexterity of your hand and being able to feel when this is tight is super important. These are screws into aluminum, so you can actually strip these if you go too tight. But you want to make sure that you sink this trim ring down until it touches the window here. So yeah, that's it. We installed the window. We're going to give it a quick wash down with the garden hose to make sure that there's no leaks. And then we'll be done with this project. All right, the moment of truth. Let her rip, Colleen. So far, so good.